Seattle, a city divided. On one side, a small but vocal group of protesters that want to defund or abolish the police. On the other, a large but relatively silent majority that supports laws and those that enforce them. After weeks of protest, downtown Seattle has transformed. It is boarded up. Is this the dystopian future that Seattle wants? Or is today a new day? A day that the silent majority finds its voice? Join me in going to the Stop the Defunding of Police rally in downtown Seattle, where I will talk to supporters, Antifa, and prominent Northwest conservative leaders. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the like button if you like citizen journalism. This is Restorative Capitalism. Let's get started. Today is Sunday, August 9th in Seattle, Washington. This is an important day for a couple of reasons. First off, tomorrow is a historic vote of the Seattle City Council where they will vote to defund the police or not. There is allegedly a veto-proof majority in place already for that to be the case. But there's also a pretty significant protest happening today in downtown Seattle that's sponsored by the Seattle Police Officers Guild. That is where we are headed. I did a drive-by a minute ago, and here it is. It's looking at the supporters of the SPD. On the other side of the street, we didn't catch it on video on the drive-by, but there were counter-protesters. They were all wearing black, the ones that claim to be Antifa. We'll see if we can get a conversation with some of them and a conversation with some of the folks that are up in the protest as well. The official time this is supposed to start is noon, and it's not even noon yet. And literally people are pouring in from every single street. There's a mass amount of people wearing blue. We're a couple blocks away. You can already hear the horns honking, the support for the police.
I've spent 20 years in this city. I've never seen this many people in one spot that agree with me on something in the entire time that I've lived here. So you can say safely that I feel very encouraged right now.
Because right now more than ever, everybody's safety is at risk with this radical agenda by elected officials who do not hear you. And it is because of your voice that they have walked back some of the rhetoric. And we can see that our campaign is working, but we must continue this struggle, the struggle to stop the unreasonable activism that has swallowed this great community of ours.
I tried to get to the front line here, which was difficult because it's so crowded, full of people supporting the SPD. On the other side of the street here are the counter-protesters. There's maybe 50 of them or so, dressed in black, wearing their umbrellas and whatnot. You know, just take a look around. I'll give you a 360 shot here. There you have it. Okay, so we're at the edge of the rally here, and I'm going to talk to a couple people on the periphery of the other side of the street. We may turn around very quickly. We'll see how it goes. But there are literally thousands and thousands of people here.
Yo, wait, guys, where's GoPro?
Oh, are you guys going to the other side of the street? So I'm on this side of the protest. Is it okay if I come with you and talk to a couple people?
You have to ask them.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'll start by asking you, can I walk next to you? Because I'm not violent or anything.
You walk ahead of me.
Okay. Would you give me a heads up and just warn me if you feel like I'm in danger? I just feel like the more that we actually talk together,
The time for conversation is long over. That's why we're out here on the fucking street.
well, I hear that. But is it okay if I talk to you on camera? So I'm talking to one of the counter-protesters here. He's not going to say his name, and I don't blame him. I won't say mine either. But we're going to try to have a conversation. Short conversation here, I guess. He just mentioned to me that the time for conversation is over. I feel like we can overcome that personally. But what I want to know is what could I do to help change your mind on conversations over?
Defund SPD by 50% at least.
Okay, and that's
Release all protesters. No new youth jail.
So let me tell you why I came here today, and that is, yesterday, about 100 yards from my house, there was a shooting. The police were able to, happened to be there, and they happened to stop it and de-escalate. Nobody got hurt in the end. A couple people ended up getting arrested. But it made me really say, like, wow, I'm glad they were there. I don't know what we would do if they weren't there.
What neighborhood were you in? Or would you say that it was a rich white suburban neighborhood?
I'll tell you, it's North Seattle.
Yes. So that would be why the police department were there, when in fact they often ignore or harass people in black communities. And in fact, you'll notice that the percentage of black people who are oppressed by the police is much higher than white people. Why is that?
I've definitely, I've been to the shop, I've talked to people, I've heard those stories, and as an empathetic listener...
Not stories. Data.
Okay, yeah, and in fact I've been through all of the data related to 911 calls. There's actually another really interesting piece about data, in that for SPD, it's the most equitable payment across black and white officers of all departments in Seattle. And it's probably the most progressive police force in the entire
consistently lies.
Are you going to the other side? I'll walk with you if you want. Okay. So there you have it. Went through the counter-protest side. Had a discussion with an individual that had a lot of opinions that were different than mine, but we kept it calm. It looks like things are kind of starting to heat up a little bit across the street with the counter-protesters moving into the street. So I just found an individual. I'm still on the other side of the street. She's 75. She says she doesn't care if they knock her on her butt.
That's right.
And so what is it that brought you out here today?
I want to support the Seattle Police Department. I want to support democracy. I'm sick and tired of these people who, if they lived in China or Russia or all of these other countries, they'd already be in jail. But not here. They have the right to do this.
Well, I support their right to be on this side of the street and counter-protest, and I would support them in that.
Right.
But I also am with you in that I'm 100% behind the SPD.
Totally.
They have helped me out many times.
Yes. They're awesome.
And I feel like they're absolutely underappreciated by our city government.
I agree.
I say thank you to them every time individually where I have the chance to.
Thank you.
And my hope is that they feel a lot of that from the crowd that's here today too.
I think they do.
How do you think the vote will go tomorrow from the city council?
It'll be interesting. I hope that all of these people are voting against all of them. I mean, I do. Anyway.
So what's your plan do you live in Seattle?
I do not. I live in a suburb.
Okay.
But I've lived in the Northwest forever, and I can't stand this destroying our beautiful city. Just beautiful. It's a mockery.
And I actually live in the city itself.
Yeah.
I had the police involved with disarming a shooting incident that was 100 feet from my house yesterday. So I have this hits my home. It hits me firsthand. I have daughters to protect. I have a family to protect. And my feeling, I'm not leaving Seattle because if we don't solve this problem here, it is coming to you.
That is absolutely true. I agree.
Is there anything you want to say to my audience, which is a pretty small YouTube channel?
Not anymore, except please support this young man and support democracy and the Seattle Police Department.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's called Restorative Capitalism.
Hello.
This is Katie Daviscourt, who's a big right-wing figure here in Seattle.
Yeah.
She's here supporting the SPD. Is there anything you want to say to my channel?
It is time for the silent majority to start speaking out. We can't stay silent anymore. We're losing our freedoms, and we need to come out and support Seattle PD.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
Jason Rantz right by me, folks. This is Dion, who's a lot more well-known than I am on YouTube, but I wanted to ask him if he had anything to say to my audience on restorative capitalism.
Yeah. So your channel is called Restorative Capitalism?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think capitalism is fantastic for one, and for two, you have those guys. You just interviewed a couple of them. You have those guys that just want to completely destroy capitalism. I mean, how much of an idiot joke is that? I mean, think about that. Let's defund the police. Let's disarm everybody. Let's burn capitalism to the ground. Everything that makes this country and this world so great, especially this country, and then burn it all down. So capitalism is fantastic. So guys, this is Dion Thompson from the Color Conservatives. make sure you go follow this guy, okay? He's awesome. He's doing really good work with journalism because there's not really good journalism out there to begin with, because I just got interviewed by Seattle Times, total fake news. They're doing, these race baiting questions, and I just killed it. Yeah, I killed these people. And then they're like, I think this interview's over with. It's like, you goddamn right this interview's over with, because these people don't know how to interview. So I appreciate the honest journalism. Thanks a lot.
Dion, appreciate it.
Yeah, totally.
At this point, some BLM protesters stood in the middle of the crowd. And what you had basically was chanting back and forth. I don't really do the chanting back and forth thing. It was heated, but it was safe. I'm always encouraged when people of different views can be in the same spot and not get violent. I got a chance to talk to one of the people that was around that protest a little bit earlier in the day. Here's how that conversation went.
And then, my channel is called Restorative Capitalism.
Restorative Capitalism.
It's pretty small. I have about 170 people, but part of the focus of what I'm trying to do on that channel is create dialogue where we may disagree on things and seek common ground. And I think that when you get a big group of people on both sides that have different opinions, it's kind of hard to do that. And so one of the things I appreciate about you coming over here is that you're coming over here to probably listen, to understand, to go, hey, what is everybody on the other side saying? I'm not sure, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just want to say that what you're doing over here is like me going to the other side and trying to talk to them.
Sure, and I won't, that wasn't necessarily my number one intention, is to come over here and talk to people, but it wasn't also to come over here and start shit either. I'm not here for that.
Mostly
what I didn't appreciate was being stopped right at the door, and the only reason they had to tell me was, oh, we're not allowing counter-protesters. And so we asked very directly, okay, how are you so sure we're counter-protesters? And he just kept repeating the same thing. And I think cops need to do better than that. You know what I'm saying? I think they need to do better than have that answer. Even if that's a perfect example of so I didn't want to go there, but I asked directly, is it because we're black? No, I just told you why it was. It's because we're not allowing counter-protesters.
And I think, maybe a way I would interpret that the other side of it is they're trying to just keep everybody safe, and including you. And I think,
right, but then we're all,
you do have a everyday march face mask, so it's pretty clear the perspective that you're bringing into the protest from that. But I think,
but you know what? I appreciate that you can say that to my face, and it's obvious. You could have just said that. He could have just said, bro, you have a fist on your thing right now, it's not hard. If you want to talk to my sergeant, you talk to my sergeant, which is what he eventually said. That was cool.
Anyway, I think to the degree that we can take things that we might not necessarily see eye to eye on without conversation and come together and talk about that, that's something I want to support, and I think that's what you're saying.
And I think
with your interaction coming in here, I think if that's something that we could all come to, that'd be great. I don't know how we get there other than just trying like you and I are.
Well, I think it's important to have these conversations. We're all passionate, that's for sure. We're passionate, and I think it comes down to what you just said. We're all trying to keep our people safe. So me trying to get in here, same thing. You're saying he's trying to keep everyone safe. I have people in here right now that I want to make sure are safe.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even able to have that conversation because he was treating me like a wall, like a brick wall. He just kept saying, blah, 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 the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Whereas you can clearly look me in the eyes and say, well, you have an everyday march, face mask. It's pretty obvious. So why was that so? That wasn't hard to say, was it?
No.
And I'm not telling this to you. I'm just saying this is what was going through my head.
But I think what we can do together is set the example that we hope others can conform to. And we're not going to find that everywhere. And but I think it takes a lot to go to the other side and talk to them. And I would just say I would speculate that you and I would find a lot of things in common. I tend to be very conservative. I'm afraid of Marxism. But of course, when you say the statement of Black Lives Matter, I have zero disagreement with that. And I think I have a little bit of a challenge when it comes to conflating that with a political philosophy of Marxism. But I feel like that's something we could talk about, and I can explain why I feel that way. At the same time, what are the things that you'd want to say to my audience that's probably primarily conservative? Do you feel safe over here on this side?
I feel safe enough because I'm not a necessarily short person, and I'm kind of confident, and I feel safe enough. But I think on both sides there's the extremes. There's the extremes.
Yeah.
Some people just want to fuck shit up on both sides.
Right.
On our side, on that side, and on this side.
And I think what we're demonstrating here is that the majority of protesters or counter-protesters, depending on your perspective, are not that way. The majority are not that way.
But they're the loudest. But they're the loudest.
At the same time, the same statement applies to police, where you can have somebody that is like, broken the law, done something improperly. That doesn't represent all police, that represents that one officer.
Is the only way to a peaceful earth. For all people, all people pray for thee.
Anyways,
Hey man,
To the protesters across the way, we had a peaceful rally. We've got families with children who are exercising our First Amendment rights. We want to leave this assembly in peace. We do not want violence. We want reasonable public safety political discourse. That is what's lacking in our society, is that we're failing to talk to one another. We're willing to listen, but we will not be bullied by unreasonable activism. Take care of yourselves, be safe, protect one another, and have a safe drive home. Thank you so much. God bless the United States of America and the men and women of the Seattle Police Department.
well, there you have it, folks. Seattle is alive and well. Unreasonable activism is coming to an end. The silent majority is now speaking. Welcome to the new Seattle.
Don't forget to hit subscribe, check out some of our other videos, hit the like button if you enjoyed this content. Thank you for watching and God bless you.